Are you an entrepreneur who loves adventures or somebody who you just enjoy taking trips and experiencing life to the fullest? Well, what if you could incorporate the thrill of your favorite adventures into your work and get paid for it? Well, our guest here today has done something really cool with her business, and we're going to explore how tapping more into her genius and her passions has really enriched her business and really made her whole experience of life so much more fulfilling as an entrepreneur. Hi, I'm Melanie Benson and I'm America's leading small business optimizer. And this podcast is a series dedicated to helping you learn the little things that other experts and optimizers have figured out and how you can put them into your business so your business can start performing better, you can start enjoying your business more, and you can grow your profits and your impact in the process. And my guest today is a friend of mine. I've known her for so long, Denise Wakeman. She's known as an online business strategist and works with authors and online entrepreneurs to strategically use social marketing tools to gain visibility, build credibility, and make more money. And I have to say, Denise is one of those go-to people. I always follow her online. I highly recommend that you go follow her on all her social media. She's doing stuff, and I'm like, oh, that's so cool. Oh, that's great. Oh, I love what she's doing. So as she brought in adventures and visibility, I just thought this is so great, seeing you bring in something you're passionate about into the business. So, hey, Denise.
Hi, Melanie. I'm so excited to be talking with you today. It's been a while.
It has been, and it's just so much fun to see your friends for these long periods of time, go through these new evolutions and continue to expand their reach and their impact, and just really fun to watch the evolution of an entrepreneur.
It is, because that's exactly what it is an evolution. It just can't stay the same. And, it always sort of baffles me when people complain about things changing too much. It's like, hey, life changes,
Yeah. Nature is an evolving organism.
Absolutely. And we're part of that. And so is a business.
Yeah. I love that. That's a great way to put it. And so I'm really curious what the catalyst for you was to introduce, we'll just say, your adventures in visibility. I don't know if you want to call them experiences or if it's a new brand, but tell us about that and how that fits into being an online business expert.
Okay. Well, the whole thing with Adventures in Visibility started a couple of years ago after I did a trek in Peru up to Machu Picchu. And it was such a transformational process or experience, adventure for me. I went, on vacation. I went with 3 friends. We were part of a group of 12 and did this trek high in the Andes. And it was one of the most challenging physical experiences I have ever had. And one of the most amazing too, because the Andes are just phenomenally gorgeous. And I had it was such a fulfilling experience for me. I was so excited. I was riding so high when I got back from that. And I, in the process, had become friendly with our guide, the primary guide in our group, and we stayed in touch. And he was doing some really cool things with rural community tourism that really touched me and is something that I think about and how to incorporate into my business, helping empower women to become entrepreneurial, because I work with a lot of women, not exclusively, but with a lot. And anyway, we just stayed in touch and we were talking and he's like, well, you're welcome anytime to come back. I'm like, okay, how about February? So I went back 3 months later. And again, it was a different trip, but to some different areas in Peru. And I saw this project he was working on with this group in the Andes in a small village, and then went down to the Amazon on this protected lake that was just amazing. And again, I just had such an amazing experience. And before I went on that second trip, I decided that my mantra for that trip was going to be just say yes. because I was traveling alone in that case, which I've done a lot in my life, but I was traveling alone and I was going to meet up with this guy that like had been our guide, but I didn't really know him. I mean, I just was so impetuous. I was just like, okay, let's go. And so I decided just say yes, unless it's life threatening, and see what happens. And that was the best thing I ever did because it really put me in a position to um, do things that eat stuff I hadn't eaten before. I put a boa constrictor around me, which is not something I would have normally done. So just really, it got me out of my comfort zone. And again, it was such a great experience that when I came back, I just said, okay, this is who I am. This is what I love to do. And along with my business, how can I marry those two things? Because when I thought about it, I realized that all my life I've been adventurous. I've done lots of adventurous things and not just the travel kind of adventure. Starting a business with nothing in 1996, traveling by myself when I was 19 around the world, um, just so many different things that I realized, this is part of who I am. Why have I been keeping it separate from my business? And how can I combine that idea of being adventurous and taking risks, again, not life-threatening risks, but taking some risks in your business, and what will that do for your business? So that's how it came to be. I know that was a little wordy, but that's how it
Well,
came to be.
no, I mean it's great because it gives us a lot of insight into how the decision points
Yeah.
moved you towards something that you may not have seen otherwise, and
Yeah.
I really have a belief that life is a series of choices, and success
Mm-hmm.
is the choices that you make reveal the next step, and sometimes you don't know what the next step is until you make the choice. So
Right,
I think
right.
that's
And I made some choices that kind of surprised me and took other people by surprise. Like, really? You're going back? Like,
what?
you don't really know this person? I was like, well, he was a really good guide and we had a really great trip. So why wouldn't I trust him? I took a chance, but it all worked out.
So how does the idea of an adventure translate to our businesses?
Well, it comes back to the idea of taking a chance and opening your mind to new things. Because when you travel, so literally when you travel somewhere new, you take a trip or a vacation somewhere new, you don't know what's going to happen exactly. You can plan where you're going to stay, you can plan the sightseeing that you're going to do, and you can plan how you're going to get from A to B, but stuff always happens. And sometimes, I mean, you can't plan for a lot of it, and you have to be open to saying, okay, this is different than I thought, but it's a good thing too.
Yeah.
So, for example, I just got back from another adventure in India. I went 2 weeks to India, and I went with a friend of mine, one of my friends who I went to Peru with, and we were with a group also. And it was for a yoga and meditation retreat. That was a big part of it. Well, I don't do yoga, and I haven't really meditated that much, but there was so much about the whole opportunity that spoke to me because there was a lot of service involved with it too, and at a school and an orphanage and a environmental or NGO, that I was like, well, I can try yoga, I can try meditation, why not? Because then I am going to a place where I can never return from. Like, once you open your mind to new things, you can make a decision. Do I still want to do this or do I not want to do this? Did this enrich my life in some way or did it not? And I think that business is exactly the same way. If you're not looking to constantly evolve your business and try new things, because stuff stops working after a while. And I've been working online since 1996. Believe me, there's a lot of stuff that doesn't work anymore, but new things do work. So you got to be willing to constantly be looking for that new and be willing to try it.
Yeah, and it's interesting that you're bringing this up because I am definitely a creature of comfort. Like I like to get comfortable, which I think most human beings do. And the sheer nature of being an entrepreneur, we are required. It's like embedded in our DNA that we have to constantly create and constantly change.
Yeah.
And being somewhat of a transformational leader for myself, I am constantly being forced to, evolve and grow. So it's an interesting time in which we're being challenged with
Mm-hmm.
rapid innovation, all kinds of technology changes, and a financial market that is up and down and going crazy. And
Right.
of course, if you can develop the strength of adaptability, you can you can thrive in any situation. And I think that's
Right.
what you're really setting up here for people is if you can adapt and grow and be flexible and try new things, you can make it through any situation.
Exactly. Because not everything's going to work anyway.
Right.
So it's about embracing that
Mm,
mindset because it's going to happen anyway. So if you look at it with joy and expectation, then I think that you become more open to the possibilities and the opportunities that are out there. If you're thinking about things, oh, this has to happen this way, and I have to do my sales that way, and I can only market this way or that way, or I can only go to this kind of event, then you're closing yourself off to opportunities that you don't know about. Like you said, it's like I didn't know what was going to happen until I made these decisions, and then new stuff opened up for me.
yeah.
And it's really about just saying, okay, I am open to seeing what it is. I don't have to do everything that comes in front of me, but something might be really great, and it might take me off on a direction that I'm not expecting, and that direction may be better than anything I dreamed of.
It's almost in a way a process of getting your ego mind and your attachments out of the way to create space for things that you never knew were going to be thrilling and exciting and good for you, or maybe even make you happy. But you
Right.
wouldn't have seen them if you hadn't gotten out of your own way and tried something new. I love that.
Right.
Okay,
Right.
so I have a couple questions that I feel like I want to dig deeper into how we
Okay.
apply adventures.
Okay.
So a lot of people are really uncomfortable with getting outside their comfort zone. What's one way that you might invite somebody to open up to an adventure, or maybe even just make it really simple, just try something they haven't tried yet?
Well, I would lay it out for them first,
Okay.
and may invite them to do something I've already done, I've already experimented with, and I know it's not going to kill them, psychically or any other way,
Yeah. So an adventure with a safety net.
Yeah, exactly. It's like
Okay.
I don't ask my clients to do anything that I haven't already experimented with. I mean, I wouldn't be telling them to do something that I don't know if it works or not.
Right.
So that should give some comfort level as like, okay. And also really have a conversation about like what's the worst that can happen, you know and this is about business, so what's really the worst that can happen if you try something? I focus on online marketing, so what is the most horrible thing that could happen if you try advertising on Facebook and nothing happens? You lose a few dollars, but you wouldn't have known it would work or not if you didn't try. So what if it did work?
Love
What
that.
if you got new leads? If you're afraid of doing that, and lots of people are, I'm working on something around that right now with Facebook ads. That's why it comes to mind. There's so many people. It's like, oh, I don't want to waste my money. And it's like, well, lots of people are making a lot of money by doing Facebook ads. So what if you tried something and you spent just $5?
It's the fear of not, of wasting, or the fear of something bad happening, I think, that
Right.
keeps people from doing things. And so that actually is the second part of the question I had for you
Okay.
is, so what if the worst does happen? If you're really committed to being in the adventure and using the mindset of adventure, what's some advice you could give to someone who does try the adventure and it goes bad? Like, how can we process that, I guess?
Well, I think if you're trying the adventure in small steps, which is how I would start someone off that way. So let's go back to the Facebook advertising, because some people have so much fear around that.
Mm-hmm.
Is that I wouldn't say do a $500 ad for your first ad, right? I'd say try $5. Can you afford to lose $5? Most of us can, and we've learned something from that, right? So if nothing happens and no one clicks on your ad and no one signs up for your, call to action, lead gen, opt-in, you spent $5. That's all. So what's the lowest, threshold that you have? And let's try it.
Hmm.
Because if it works, then you're going to say, oh, that worked.
So
Most people might say, okay, I'm going to try $7 next time because if I tried 5 and I got this, maybe if I try 7, I'll get more.
it's knowing your risk toleration.
Yeah.
And not, I think adventures, they have to be adventures that expand us. Sometimes the adventure has negative components to it, but if we take the learning out and we grow from it, there's always a positive in there somewhere.
I agree.
And it's all mindset and framework and what are you making it mean? And I guess that brings up, and I want to like switch gears here and go deeper into Denise and understanding kind of the behind the scenes of how you make all this work. But I think we're kind of in a mindset conversation here.
Yeah, I know. We got there.
And what's so funny is like so many of the really significant success stories, one of the things we always hear is mindset. The mindset plays in somehow. I'm curious, how does it play in for you?
Well, I'll be completely honest with you, is that for so long I never paid attention to mindset. I don't coach it or teach it or consult it. And then when I started seeing what was happening in my own evolution over the last couple of years, I realized it played a huge part because when I made conscious decisions to change my mindset, like they just say yes.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that was very conscious. I'm just going to say yes to anything that comes up because I know nobody's trying to hurt me, who's asking me to do something that I haven't done before, that I realized how much more joyful it is. And when somebody's got your back, whether it's a guide at the back of the pack, which is where I hiked on the trek, I was always like one of the last ones because I'm just slower. But there was always a guide behind me, and there was a guide in the front showing us where to go. That's what I am for my clients. It's like I'm not going to steer you wrong, really.
That's a beautiful way to put it.
It's not in my interest to do that. My interest is for you to succeed and be happy with your success, not to try and gotcha.
Well, and mindset's such an interesting topic. We'll just call it a topic in that people look at mindset elements differently, changing your thinking, but it's also really mastering the art of how you make decisions and what you tell yourself about the situations in your life and discipline and focus. And, there's a lot of elements to it. And,
right.
I don't want to belay any secrets, but I'm wondering, like, have you made a conscious choice to invest in up-leveling your mindset? Has that been a part of your ability to take more risks?
That's a great question, and I do invest in a business coach. And to me, that is about up-leveling my mindset because working with a business coach, and it's a stretch sometimes financially because as we know in the entrepreneurial world, finances go up and down, but it's always been a fantastic investment because there's somebody there who's saying, okay, you need to step up now. At least that's what my coach does. It's like, what's the next step for you? How can I help propel you to that? Oh, I don't want to. Oh, that's scary. Oh, no, you're right. That's, usually I agree. Yeah, okay. I was wondering when you were going to ask me to do that. Okay.
She busted me.
Yep, busted. Totally busted. But sometimes you need that person to bust you in a kind and loving way.
And it's definitely had a beautiful impact on the trajectory of your business because, I'm assuming that there are a lot of things that have changed for the better. Oh. And, let's talk about challenges because obviously when you're investing in a mentor, one of the things you get to look at are the things that you're challenged by and maybe patterns or strategies or ways of running the business that aren't working. Has there been a big one that you had to look at that by facing it, it allowed you to make your business work better?
Well, that goes back to this whole shift in my brand, I guess you could say, is that when I was having this experience before I went to Peru the first time, because that was like this really pivotal moment for me that I didn't know it at the moment, but I realized that's what it was, is that I was feeling really bored
Mm-hmm.
in my business, not with my clients, but just like, oh my gosh, it's like the same old, same old. I've been doing this forever, you constantly having to go out and, just demonstrate why you're different. And especially in online marketing and social marketing, there's a gazillion people out there who say they're experts, and someone who's been in a class for a month starts, charging $30 an hour. And, that, so like there's all those elements that I know a lot of people face. And I was just feeling so burnt out by all that. And it's like, do I have to keep doing this? But I'm not employable. So, I needed to find a way to make it work. And then I went on this trip because it had been planned for a long time. And that's where the shift started coming, because my coach could see like a shift in my energy. I mean, it's like that I was sparkling and happy, and like I was like bouncing off the walls about this experience and how I could bring that into my business. So she really helped me formulate, how I could make this happen. And it's still evolving. But the challenge for me was in all of that was bringing together the personal and the professional, the personal and the business, because I had always kept a line there,
Mm-hmm.
and because that's what I was trained to do. Like, you're a business person, that's what you have to behave in a certain way and dress in a certain way, and all that stuff. And I'm old school, I guess, in a way. And so when making that shift to say, okay, this has got to merge because this is really truly who I am. And then I started being able to shed a lot of that, um, some of those walls started coming down. And that also has to do with being an introvert and having to, decide what to put out there and be out there. And so those are all things I've been dealing with over the last couple of years, but it's all for the best. I mean, when I talk to people, they're like, oh, I noticed such a huge difference in you. Well, there you go.
You know what I'm hearing and what you're saying, tell me if I've got this right, is that really the biggest challenge has been really integrating some vulnerability
Mm-hmm.
and authenticity into your brand. Not that you were inauthentic as an
Right.
expert, but that it's almost like the more we allow in and to or use or make real to the world around us what's authentic to us and what lights us up on the personal side, the more our business can thrive, because there's a
Yeah.
seamless energy that runs between all the areas of our life rather than compartmentalizing and turning this on, turning this off. All right, who do I need to be right now? It's like that takes a lot of energy to manage compartmentalizing areas of your
Yeah.
life.
Absolutely. And that's a beautiful way to put it, because I stopped compartmentalizing. I just let that skin go away. And, it's like, okay, this is who I am. This is who I've been my whole life. And okay, here it is. Let's go.
I love that. And I love the Adventures in Visibility. I know you do classes and stuff, and we'll talk more about that in a minute. But just the way you position the Adventures in Visibility and, giving people an opportunity to join you on these adventures through the classes you teach, it's brilliant. Oh my God, I love that she's got that angle.
Yeah, I
So,
had a fun time with the India trip on that, because I made a very conscious decision to share my adventure while I was having it versus, after I got back.
I saw
And
that. I was
yeah,
noticing that.
and people really loved it. I made a very conscious decision because in my line of work around working with people to help them build their visibility, I can't disappear for 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
I could, but I didn't want to. And I wanted to demonstrate how it could be done in a fun, light way.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and with today's social media with Instagram and Facebook and a lot of the
Mm-hmm.
image centered environments,
Exactly.
it's just, it's all about like keeping the consistency up. So,
Exactly. Exactly. So,
okay, so let's go into practical, logical business for a second.
oh,
I would love it if you'd share with us something that you focused on making work better, as I call optimized, you've really noticed a huge difference from the investment you made in optimizing it.
well, it's really about working with my coach.
Hmm.
That is how I find because I work by myself, and having that outside person, the coach, and also a very small mastermind,
Hmm.
and that gives me the support I need to keep focusing on the optimization rather than the little daily details that need to get done but don't necessarily contribute to the like where's it going
Yeah.
in a bigger picture. So um, having a business coach has really helped me optimize my business much better.
So, is there a particular part of your business that you optimized? Like a lot of people look at the marketing, the sales process, the could be operations. Maybe it was your mindset.
It's more my mindset.
Yeah. Okay.
You
And
know,
then
I think
I love that, by the way, because I think everybody, if you spend 90% of your time optimizing your mindset, the rest starts to fall into place. But most people
right.
spend 90% optimizing their marketing and everything and wonder why it's still not working.
Right. And I already have that marketing thing down.
Yeah.
And, when I hired my coach, I've been with her for 3 years now. I was thinking it was, to, grow my business a certain way. And yet it's become a much more internal
Mm.
um, style of relating. Now, we do talk about business and we do talk about nuts and bolts and stuff, but very often it's just like twisting things in a way that I haven't seen it before or that I was thinking it. She's very intuitive, and I think that's why I like don't want to ever let her go. But yeah, it's like I'll be thinking about something but not know how to articulate it, and she'll just articulate it like without me ever saying anything. It's like that's it. That's exactly what I've been trying to figure out.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a very helpful piece because alone I wouldn't be able to do that,
Mm-hmm.
and I would probably be treading water.
It's all about the perception shifts. We can't see outside of the box when we're inside of the box.
Exactly.
Love it. Do you have a favorite quote or mantra of some kind?
There's a couple of quotes that I go to time from time to time, and I'm glad you warned me about this question, so I would not be going, yeah, but I can't remember what they are. Um, so one of them that speaks very directly to my work and how I work with others that I just have to always keep in front of me is obscurity is hard to monetize.
Mm,
And that's by Cory Doctorow, the author.
that's a good one.
Yeah, yeah, because if people don't see me or they don't see, they're not seeing a client, that sort of thing, it's really hard to build your business if people
Yeah,
can't see you,
I totally
you
get
know?
that.
So, and then also around the whole experiment thing, I have to read this so I don't mess it up, but it's Ralph Waldo Emerson, and I just really love this. All life is an experiment. The more experiments you make, the better.
Ah, so perfect for you.
I know. When I first read that a while back, a few years ago, I was like, yes, that's
That is a
exactly
good
right.
one. I love it. Denise, you're always so full of amazing education and knowledge and strategies that work, especially when it comes to social media. What are some things that are coming up for you that you're excited about the adventure of?
In terms of marketing and social media, it's one of the things that I see that people are struggling with is they're trying to skip the visibility piece. They just want to sell their thing,
Hmm.
whatever it is, and they don't want to do the work to, really build that audience and those that group of raving fans. And in the last year, and I don't see this going away. In the last year, I would say that one of the highest uh, not highest, but one of the most effective ways to really jumpstart that is using video, using live stream video. Um, my show, Adventures in Visibility, is done on live Google Hangouts. They're live events. And the people I've met, by inviting them to be guests, but also who attend the shows, the exposure overall, the invitations I get as a result has just been really phenomenal. And I'm just really on that bandwagon for other entrepreneurs because there's nothing as powerful as live video when somebody is looking right into a camera, looking at you, right?
Yes.
It's like you're eye to eye. And I don't see that going away. So, I really urge entrepreneurs to embrace the live streaming video. There's lots of ways to do it. You don't have to do it as a show like I do, but that is a great way to get your expertise out there.
Yeah, I agree.
And for me personally, my coach has been on me for quite a while to write a book.
Yeah. Will adventure or visibility be in the book?
I think so.
Cool. We'll have to have you back on when it comes out.
Yes. Well, I'm going to spend a weekend with her very soon, and we're going to be working on it because I'm not seeming to do it on my own. So she says, one way or another, this is going to be written.
Good. That is great. Yeah. Well, I can't wait to see it come out. And I think there's so much potential in the idea of learning how to really embrace adventures personally and professionally.
Right.
So
exactly.
I have a feeling it'll be a bestseller. We'll just put that out there for you.
I'll take it.
Yeah, with your social media prowess, there's no way it could not. Denise, thanks so much for being on. And let's just remind everybody where they can find out more about Adventures in Visibility.
Okay, well, my site is at denisewakeman.com, and you can learn more about my show, which is about once or twice a month, it depends, is at adventuresinvisibility.com.
Gotta love when the URL is available.
Exactly.
Thanks so much, Denise. It's been wonderful to connect with you again today. And I'm sure as our evolution continues, we will continue to find ways to find out where Denise is going.
I hope so. This is fun. Thank you.
And I want to thank each of you for tuning in today. It's been so exciting to be on this adventure with Denise and learn more about it. But I want to hear, what's an adventure that you want to take? What's an adventure that you're scared or maybe even terrified to step into? Would you be willing to share it with us? Head over to the show page at melaniebensonstrick.com. Just drop onto the blog. And if you're on iTunes or Stitcher Radio, you can always find us at melaniebensonstrick.com. All right, everybody, have a fantastic week. We'll see you again next week. Bye-bye.